Oh, we're good to go. All right. Well, I will call the meeting to order at 8:37 a.m. and welcome everybody. On consideration of others and the business conducted today, please silence your phones, any electronic devices, and refrain from speaking unless recognized. This meeting is being broadcast via Zoom. If you're interested in speaking during public comment, let the presiding officer know and when public comment opens. All right. We'll now conduct a roll call.
Yep, I mean, however you want to do it.
Okay. Board Member Jarvis.
Here.
Board Member Davis.
Here.
Ronnie's coming in right now. We'll say that Ronnie's here. I'm here. Board Member Klingler is here. And then we're missing. Is she on Zoom?
No.
Okay. Board Member Snyder is absent. All right. Mr. Davis, would you please do the pledge of allegiance? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Does anyone wish to reorder or add to the agenda? Great. With that, we'll open the public comment period. We invite members of the public to address the board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, speaking once on both on and off agenda items.
Frank Artura for public comment.
Go ahead, Frank.
I don't think you heard me.
Oh, go ahead, Frank.
Does he not have? He did say earlier that he couldn't hear us.
You can hear us.
Okay.
Can you guys, am I muted on your end? Or
No.
can you hear me now?
You can hear you now.
Okay, there's a tap. Anyways, I won't go into the tech aspect of it, but good morning, everybody. So we had the workshops for the city. I think it was on Tuesday. I saw Joe there. And I just wanted to mention that I think that, the bid should be involved with the workshops that are going on. It's at the initial planning stages, supposedly. The gentleman that's running it, Alan from, what's that called? PlaceWorks, I believe the organization is called. He's worked with a lot of people I have in the industry. He seems to be extremely knowledgeable. But he's saying that we're very much at the early stages of this. The designs that they're going to do to enhance the area surrounding the Metrolink stations move north through the village to Bennett. So it's important to get early involvement from this part of the community into that as soon as possible. I've been working for a number of years with city and staff to try to improve the pedestrian circulation in the village by doing things like curb extensions, or I also call them peninsulas, to make it easier for people to get back and forth from each side of the street. Many cities throughout the San Gabriel Valley, in fact, many cities in general, have certain circulation standards that we're very, very outdated on, and it would do a tremendous amount for the village to improve our pedestrian circulation. This may be our only opportunity to do that for the next 30 years. We've got the funds, we've got the planning capability, and now is really the time to pay attention to that. So I'd like for as many people to be as involved as possible with the bid going forward on some of these planning designs for the village's future that are going on right now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Any other public comment? Brett, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'll introduce myself anyway. I think everybody here knows me. Fred Sparling with Classic Coffee. I think I was watching the news the other day and I saw where a lady got killed on the sidewalk walking out of a building by a guy on a scooter, or a gal on a scooter, actually. I think that we should express to the police department that we have a concern down here with the people on the skateboards, especially the motorized ones and the motorized bikes on the sidewalk. And I'd hate to see one of our citizens hit by one and killed like that lady was. Thank you.
Can we discuss comments? Or ask questions
Right, after public
after
comment.
public comment?
Yeah, yeah. Once you close public comment.
Any other public comments? All right, with that, we will close the public comment period. Just a quick follow-up question. It is not allowed for skateboards,
There's
scooters.
supposed to be a $25 fine for any.
Okay.
It's posted on signs and painted on the
Yeah.
side.
It is, and I mean, I've been downtown, I actually I got up from dinner and went and told a kid who was on an electric bike that it was really dangerous for him to be on the sidewalk. And he moved, but I mean, they were also going up and down Glendora Avenue doing wheelies on. So, but if there's no police presence in the downtown and no one's gonna cite them.
Yeah.
Then nothing's gonna happen.
I wonder if the parking attendant, when I see him walking up marking the tires, I wonder if he would have the authority to, or if the city could give him the authority to cite them.
Yeah,
He's usually only here in the mornings and early afternoon before the kids even get out of school, so.
I saw him about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Oh, really?
I believe it was about 4 o'clock.
You guys, if I can interject,
sure.
couple of things. I've been interacting with the police on having more patrols in the village for the last about year and a half. So it's been an ongoing thing. We were getting a lot of vandalism going on. Even some drug dealing occurred that I witnessed in videotape. We have community service officers, and I've asked, especially after school hours, if we can get some more community service officers that simply to patrol the village. And again, I'm requesting it as a private citizen. You guys have a position of authority. So for the bid to go formally to the police department and ask, you've got a little more authority than just a private citizen. So I'd encourage you to do that. And then I'd also encourage you to go look at what Citrus College does. They actually have some very visible signboards out there on their walkways that talk about no skateboarding, no electric biking. It's very prominent. It's just not a little spray paint flat on the sidewalk. So there are ways to mitigate this stuff, and it does require attention. And, you know, you guys are certainly in a position of authority to help with that. That's all.
Does anybody know what the process would be? Do we write an email? Do we invite them to a meeting?
Yeah, we can, contact the police captain or something. See what we can do. Because it's a request to have somebody walk Glendora Ave once every evening. Is that what would it take to have the visible presence deter people from doing stuff? I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't think you're gonna have PD there all day and all night, but maybe different signage, good idea. Yeah, but people aren't looking at the ground, so, I mean,
Folks, we have a great police department. You really just have to reach out and ask. Linda Herman's a community services officer. She does a great job. She has been doing it now and then, but it requires you guys to reach out to the police department, ask for it, and they will provide it. And the former chief of police, I just asked Matt nicely, and the people were there. It was very uncomplicated. And then you had uniformed community service officers walking the village, and things tightened up real quick. Linda doesn't mess around.
I can send an email. with that, we will invite reports from each board member. Right. Joe, do you have a report?
Just my staff's been working on getting updated contact info from all the different bid members. Been pretty successful. Some haven't called back, or a couple hung up on us. But they probably just didn't know what we were calling for. But, so we're working on this so we can get it, try to get 100% contact info, emails, that kind of stuff. So, been working on that. Then also just a reminder, tomorrow afternoon is homecoming. So the street will be closed for a couple of hours. I know it says 1:30 to 4, but I don't think it's gonna be that long. It's a parade's all of 20 minutes. So, but they have to close it earlier. So, but yeah, so I'll just stop at that.
Then we'll go to city update. Alicia, do you have a report?
I'm gonna go and defer my report to Chantel. She's gonna give you some information on the survey that she recently administered.
Awesome. Thanks, Chantal.
Hi, I am Chantel, like you said. So we did the 2024 business survey, and the intent was to demonstrate the city's proactive attitude, enhance community engagement with local businesses, gauge the opinion of satisfaction levels of this business with the city, identify business needs and concerns that the city can address. And we sent out approximately 1,100 surveys to business owners, storefront business owners, and it opened July 11th, closed August 9th, 30-day period, and we had about 231 businesses complete the survey, which was a 21% response rate, which is awesome because we were heading towards 15 to 20%. And some of the challenges that the business are having at the moment are homelessness, the safety that comes with it, and inflation. And 65% of the respondents express a positive outlook on their business within the next 2 years, meaning that they're gonna stay open or hire more. 93% of respondents are interested in workshops on marketing, whether it's social media, internet, or just regular marketing. And over half of the respondents would like more engagements with the city, which we have been getting out there different events. And over 84% of the Glendora, 84% rated Glendora as either satisfied or very satisfied as a place to conduct business. And that's just all in a nutshell. I left some there if you guys actually want to see the full report, or it's also online as well.
Thanks, Chantal.
You're welcome.
All right, is Megan? Megan, are you on Zoom?
I am here.
Awesome. Would you like to give a report or an update?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had Friday Night Twilight wrap up this past Friday. So that concluded, we started that in June. So it ran all of June, all of July, August, and September. We had some great acts that we'll definitely love to bring back, in addition to kind of word got around to some businesses. So we have some new talent too that would like to be part of it for next year. So that got wrapped up this Friday. Earlier in the week, last week, I also went around to businesses and just dropped off the update on the Glendora Halloween walk, just to remind businesses about street closure, timing, the candy that you guys will receive and all of that. And I'm hoping by next week to also be able to walk around the actual official marketing posters. Been in communication with Luis about getting the word out. We've already gotten the banner to R&R signs to get that up. So as of right now, that is the update that I have.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Luis, would you like to give a report?
Yes, good morning, everybody, and happy October. So for our Instagram side, we have 7,100, around 7,100 followers or so. We grew by 1.39%. We gained 100 followers on Instagram. Our average engagement rate is at 1.47% overall. We've had a total of 43,000 views on our profile or on our content during the month of September. And we have a 7% engagement rate per post. Let's see, people are excited about the Halloween walk. I just posted that actually on the 1st. A lot of the focus on social will be all things fall and Halloween and just leading up to that. On the Facebook side, we have 5,400 followers and 4,600 likes. We gained a bunch of fans. We gained a handful of fans. We gained about 20 of them. Well, technically 43. Our engagement rate right now is 1.8%, and our average engagement rate is 1.61%. And so we've had a cumulative about 58,000 or so views on our Facebook. And again, our focus is simply going to be all things fall, Halloween, and then towards the end, it will be just to kickstart, holiday shopping in the village. And that's it on my end.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll now move to the consent calendar. We'll affirm the minutes from the September 5th meeting. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a board member has requested it. So I'll request a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from September 5th meeting.
Second.
Awesome. All right, all in favor? Yes.
Okay.
Great. Motion carries 4-0. And with that, we'll move to the Halloween walk update. And it looks like, Joe, you're gonna report on changes from last meeting?
Yeah, just a real quick thing. I know the last meeting talked about the schedule for the Halloween walk, but then after that meeting, approached PD for permitting and stuff, and it was recommended that the street was closed instead of staying open just for public safety and such. So it was just decided with that, plus the timing, that we close the street and keep it at the 10 to 2. So just wanted to bring that back to you to let you know that it's kind of how we have to do it this year. Just want to report that.
All right. Any questions?
I don't know if we need to vote on that. or anything.
We'll receive a file or
Just,
no,
okay.
or what action?
So, just a report.
All right, so we don't need to vote.
And is
We're good.
that basically what we're locked into forever?
Just this year.
No, I think just the timing of it was short too. I mean, we could think about it, differently next year, but it's just kind of the way it turned out this year.
It sounds like the PD is, the street needs to be closed if we're gonna do that.
Yeah, but the
Like
number of people that come down, it's just the safety factor just makes it better.
Is that what you meant by locked in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the idea was to sort of have less people. And so it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. It's that if we close the street, then we're gonna have thousands of people. If we don't close the street and it's too crowded, then next year thousands of people won't come. But I think that ultimately comes down to what the business owners want. And it's hard to make a big sweeping decision like that without more input from everyone. So, I agree, public safety. I mean, for that many people, yeah, I think that.
It really kind of could look at it. Do you even want to do it?
Yeah, so maybe we need to start those discussions earlier.
Yeah. Pretty good. All right. Next, item number 6, special night bid meeting / mixer. It's exciting. Joe, you're up again.
Well, this one, I'll start it, but it was brought up by, I think, Ronnie brought it up about having a special gathering of bid board or bid members to kind of get people more involved and that type of stuff. So I thought, well, let's bring it here for you to discuss a little bit. Ideas, something like that would have to be budgeted if anything was spent. So just kind of hand it back to you to discuss.
Do we want to try to set a date?
We can. My suggestion was everything to kind of piggyback on what Joe said, but most of all, if it's budget and we've already forecasted the budget for the year and there's no wiggle room, we can always do it at the beginning of the year. With a fresh new year, fresh new start to Glendora Village kind of thing, and factor that into the budget for 2025. This is a very minuscule expense in my, big hindsight of everything to spend money on. And we can obviously partner with Juanito and see what he can do to help us facilitate this event. It could be after hours, most businesses close during the week around 5, I've noticed, so other than restaurants, of course. And we can kind of gauge what day during the week would work best.
So cost wise, you're thinking wine, like appetizers?
Yeah, like appetizers, maybe we can ask a restaurant to sponsor some small bites, get them involved, get them more involved, and see where it goes. I'm pretty sure it could be very minimal. We should send an invite out for sure, maybe do like some door knocking and give them a special invite so they feel special and have them come down.
Is that a no-go budget wise? If we wanted to do it next month or January?
Well, I mean, the budget, there's special events. I don't know if that would be considered a special event. I mean, because you have $50,000.
Yeah, we have a reserve of something, and it shouldn't be that expensive.
No.
A few $100s
Yeah,
at the most.
I know that Juanito's doing his Friday night event, so we would probably try to not do that night, but maybe a Wednesday would be good. Midweek, Thursday. I can talk to him.
Yeah.
See what he thinks, what his availability is for November. Friendsgiving would be kind of fun to do like a Friendsgiving mixer. The holidays gets a little tricky because everyone's busy at that time. So if we do it, it needs to be probably next month or January, in my opinion.
Let's do January.
Yeah. Okay. That kicks off the new year.
Yeah, sounds good. We can't do Fridays, so can we put this?
Unless he's continuing that in 2025, which I don't know.
He just does like a
That's the event.
whole pride. Thursday. Should we pick a date?
I mean,
I don't know my calendar. So.
I think we should talk to him first, maybe not see what his availability is.
Okay.
And then go from there. And if he's not open, I know that Ramon's just opened up a new banquet space and it's beautiful, and we can maybe partner with them and see if they want to do it for us. I'm pretty sure the girls would love to, so it can be either way. I know that also Diplomat has a little space too, so I mean, we have some options if he's unable to help facilitate it.
Should we email him? Is that the
Yeah.
action step?
We can.
Give his number.
I do,
Can I just text him?
I can, yeah. I have Boris and I have Vanessa in there, so I can send out a little message.
Sweet. All right.
But that one probably should do a motion. So
All right.
what you want to do.
And what is the motion for? To
To plan something. That's okay. Maybe to contact, whatever they kind of talk.
Yeah, since you're using bid funds, you want to make a motion.
The motion to approve the use of bid funds for this event.
Allocated funds for this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a-
To investigate.
You wanna do it?
Further,
You go
yeah,
ahead.
explore.
I will make the motion to allocate the funds to throw one giant party,
Special party
special event party.
for special people. I will second that motion. All right, let's take a vote. All in favor? say aye. Great. All right, number 7. Just cranking through these ongoing bid bylaws review. Joe, if you could report changes to bylaws, and then we'll request next steps.
Okay, well, we met, the bylaws committee met a couple times and then brought back what you have in your packet and what I have on the screen. Excuse all the markings, but that's just the changes from the adjustments. I'll just kind of go through 99% of what we looked at, but as you see here, in the first part is really just an addition of, I reviewed other bid bylaws and kind of what was in them. So we kind of used some of that. So it just, a lot of them have this principal office location. Is it basically just shows where, bid members, when they're reading, they know where they can go to get information and such. So it just shows the chamber office. And then just a minor adjustment on the top, Glendora Village Business Improvement District added improvement. And then throughout, you'll see bid instead of writing it all. So there's that one. Moving on to the second one, meetings. We just added first Thursday of the month, of course. And then, I don't know if this is exactly needed, but a lot of them had in the section 2 that, we have meetings, there's special meetings and such. This is something came up of an emergency, and an emergency meeting had to be posted. And, there are posting requirements and that kind of stuff. I don't know if this is needed. We don't, but put it in, it's in other bid bylaws. That if something was done, then it would just be reported at the next meeting. Now just to let you know too, all this, if you think all of this looks good and you want to move forward, it has to go for city review and council approval and all that stuff too. So it doesn't end here, it's just kind of the beginning. Any questions on this part of it?
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Kind of moving on, just added a statement about the Brown Act, and then the committee wanted to add the section 6 here, that the chair and vice chair shall present the agenda for upcoming meetings. So just sometime, during this meeting, you would, if there's any special things that you know about at the time, would want those at least on the following meeting, and to make sure the agenda is set to how you want it to be for your meeting, meetings later on. We got that. Assessments here, really it's just kind of rewording a little bit. Then down here on members, just talking about the board. That's, five members, which it already is membership. But then they kind of talked about term limits a little bit. You kind of get people in and out. Now I know it's sometimes difficult to get board members, but now that you wanted to kind of make this more casual thing, maybe more people get involved, where we have terms of 2 3-year terms.
It changed to 4.
Hmm?
It changed to 4.
Oh, 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have to check on that, but I want to say that since the bid is under management of the chamber, that may not apply to them, but let me double check and I'll
Okay.
get back to you.
Okay, yeah, this is just for review. I mean, the city's gonna have to look at it all.
Yeah.
Okay. But then the committee wanted to add where when someone turns out, they have to be off for a year. Then could re-up for it. And that, let's see, we're going to be in good standings with all assessments current and or on payment plans if available. I know we don't have the payment plans now, but.
So 2 unexcused absences and 4 total. 4 total within a 12-month period shall be considered a resignation from the board. Is that automatic?
Well, that's. Oh, that's the next page?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, did I see that already?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's the. Well, I mean, before I go into that, any questions on this part? Okay, now the next part regarding absences, stuff like that, we just, the committee wanted to kind of clarify or enhance that part a little bit. It says 2 unexcused absent or 4 total in a 12-month period will be considered a resignation. Now, it's not automatic. I mean, it takes you all to do that. You know,
Okay.
to work with your fellow members to do that. Someone would have to ask, which that's where we may have to get clarification from the city on, is there a specific process you all use? Because I know like in the chamber board, if someone misses a lot, then the board chair, maybe a vice chair, talks with them to say, hey, you know, is there issues? If, you know, if they have business things or they have personal things and they need to step off, then they just do it that way. There's, you know, there's no real like, you know, work process or anything, but, you know, so it just kind of amongst yourselves.
Is there somewhere we can see our term?
Yeah, I mean, that's on the city website.
Oh, really?
You know, under the bid has term expiration dates, right? Yeah, it's same with council and all that kind of stuff. So, but this, now these two, like at the chamber, they're only as good as how you want to enforce them. Kind of like riding bikes in the village, you know, it's only as good as you want to enforce it. So, but it was just kind of a clarification of that. And because really, I mean, from when the committee's talking about it, if someone's, you know, missing multiple meetings within a year's period, really not that active, or, you know, missing a lot of information and sharing and stuff. So just kind of shows the importance of attendance.
Okay, I just want to clarify the term part of it. That's a set thing, though. Like, is there, it's because in the past, I think the city. Okay. But like,
I got you through 2027, dude.
someone would come and say, hey, your term's up, you need to reapply or whatever it is. Is that gonna be the same process?
Yeah, that'll be the same process. We kind of adjust, I think it's on another page on maybe how new bid members are looked for, you know, but still work with us because it still is a part of the city, you know, in that part. So you know, there's those rules are you still have to kind of go by.
So what you were just saying about sort of you police yourselves, sort of, you know, was that about absences or was that about the term?
That's about absence.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this is just about you know, the absences, yeah. So but it's however you all want to do it. If you want more on here, it talks about how to do it. Let's see, moving on. Termination. Now, this is just kind of another, you know, a way to terminate somebody. You have to, if someone resigns, you know, it just has to be written notice, you know, the kind of, it's on all bylaws, everything. And then down here, changed where, or suggested change, because everything up to this point has to be approved by city council to do anything. But since this was changed, we were transferred over to the chamber to try to make it where it's a little easier, we don't have to go to council for everything. But it did add, in certain legal situations, city or council would have to do that, and not, you know, we can't just do it herself, so, but like I said earlier, the city's gonna have to review this, probably add stuff or adjust things, so. but- Let's see. And that's kind of what we came up with. Questions, concerns, it's kind of hard to read out there, but,
It's great.
I mean, not a lot of changes really, just more clarity or adjustments from all the city approval for everything, except where legally required, to more you're able to kind of work it yourself.
So can I move to approve the bylaws and send them to the city?
Yes.
Second. All in favor?
I,
Right,
Who seconded it?
yeah,
Okay.
All right, moving on to number 8, the fiscal year 2024-25 update. It's gonna be Chantel, or at least, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's you, Joe.
I get
Sorry.
Yeah, as you see on the thing here, cash on hand in the bank, 188,291.81. First column here is this fiscal year 24-25 and your budget. Second column is available budget. On the expenditure or the income side, assessments we've received since taking over 6,300. And then on the expense side down here, division supplies, that's, like storage unit, that kind of stuff. For Friday Night Twilight, payments to all the musicians and such. And then Halloween walk, stroll, those are banners and permit fees. Marketing and promotion, that's social media payments. So looking at this, expenditure 7,415.22, and at this, you're at a net revenue to date of negative 11,1522. So not too much has really gone on since July, but that's the income and expenditures. Is there any questions?
I have a question. In terms of the budget for 2025, that's something that the city sets for us.
No, you do with
When do
them
we do
present.
that?
It's starts in February, March for the next fiscal year.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So January is still technically 2024.
Yes, because it's a fiscal year, yeah, July to June.
Okay.
Now, which this, let's see down here, this, like, it's talking about budget, this special event. That's the one which is budgeted $50,000 the last couple of years, because that was, have that sitting there if you wanted another special event. So that's kind of where something wanted to be done between now and next June, where you'd probably pull it from. I mean,
Budgeted every year. I thought that was a one-time thing and I thought we used part of that already.
it was last year and it was
Yeah,
this year too.
that was a one-time allocation, and Megan, the event coordinator, was paid out of that initially, that first disbursement of $50,000. So you guys are currently in your second lump sum of $50,000.
Nice.
So again, as we mentioned before, when we did the 2-year budget, that's going to deplete over the years. So that's not something you guys will have.
Right.
every year.
Well, I was just making sure, I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a second, what?
So are Megan and Louise both included in marketing promotions, or is part of that coming out of special events for Megan?
Well, I think a lot of, Louise is in the marketing and promotion. A lot of up to date, at least from looking at past, Megan's fees are paid through the events. Because it's an event fee, so those would come out of your, the event fees here. And if any, I don't know if there were special things last year that came out of that 50,000, but I didn't use that whole 50,000 last year.
But yeah, but we allocated some of it, we added to the budget of the holiday stroll, we added to the budget of the Friday night twilight. So, yeah,
We just double check that.
Sure.
And make sure that, because the surplus deficit kind of issue, I'd like to know a little bit more about what that's gonna be like over the next 2-3 years.
Sure.
When we get to January, so that we can talk about it before we get to that.
Yeah.
So if we wanna make any changes to social media or to event planning or to any of that stuff. I'd also like enough time to talk about potentially expanding the border of the bid for optional opt-in for businesses kind of on the periphery. So places like the Historical Society or Suites on Vermont or places like that, that if they opted into assessments, that they could then have access to social media promotion and that sort of thing. I just want to make sure that we have enough time to get ahead of that, because the last time we started talking about it, it was too late.
All right, I'll request a motion. Receive and file.
A motion I move to receive and file.
Awesome. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to number 9, bid event dates review for 2024-2025. We are back to Joe.
Just kind of wanted to kind of go through, because there's been a lot of talk about setting the calendar like for the whole year. I sat down with Megan a couple weeks ago, kind of go over some of this. So in the first 3, we kind of know they're there. You know, the Halloween walk, the stroll, and small business Saturday. But then proposed dates, which we don't have set, which what including, you know, Santa in the Village, Wine Walk, Chalk Walk, Friday Night Twilight. You know, there was some talk last time about wine walk and everything, but really like to just put this out, get your input. We can meet, you know, have like the event committee meeting to actually plan stuff, but to kind of get calendared certain things. So especially Santa in the Village, since that's in December. You know, if you want to do that or how you want to do it this year. And then Wine Walk was a suggested date. Then the Chalk Walk had an idea to really simplify it, where it isn't a whole close down the village kind of thing. It's more just maybe set out, you know, tape off some spaces so people could sit on the sidewalk and chalk and everything and have judges and all that, but not shut the whole place down. You know, so we can get the artists out, and then Friday Night Twilight, just the musicians, and maybe even beef that up next summer, where it's more than just one person on a stage playing music. So I kind of turn it back to you. Any input you have, or how you would like us to proceed?
I would like to suggest an alternate date for the Chalk Walk, maybe May 10th. Because there's a lot of activities going on in April already. We've got Easter, like Good Friday, Earth Day. There's a bunch of stuff back to back.
Yeah, that's on May too.
Really? I couldn't think of anything in May except for Mother's Day.
Well, I mean, here, but I mean citywide, but so May 10th?
Yeah.
May 10th.
When was the last time we even did that? I've been here for over 2 years and I've never.
Oh, it's been 4
Yeah.
or 5 years.
What is
Because
it?
of COVID. We stopped because of COVID and then we didn't get it going again.
Because it used to be much bigger, where it was a chalk walk, it was Glendora's Got Talent, it was this whole thing, and then just participation dropped and people to run it, and judges and stuff, so. You know,
I don't I don't miss it
Yeah.
per se.
The
It's a-
community does though. And it brings people downtown.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's what I thought, if it's something you would wanna do,
Yeah,
really simplify, where all we're really doing is taping off some squares.
Wasn't that all it was? It was never, they never shut the street down for it, did they?
Did,
we did both. We
Yeah,
did
did
shut the
both,
street
right.
down,
cause there was a
couple of years.
talent show like in the middle of the street one year, and it was kind of bigger and. But yeah, it's just an activity. I mean, it can be really scaled back, where it's just an activity where people can come and,
Yeah.
you know,
So if it was just the taped off squares on the sidewalks and people could do that, pressure wash the sidewalks first, of course.
yeah.
And then, is there a reason why it's an $8,000 line item? Why is it so
That's because of
expensive?
chalk and everything.
We buy the chalk.
Yeah, we bought the kits for the participants. I mean, they do pay a fee to, like buy a block of sidewalk
Uh-huh.
to do that.
And that doesn't cover the cost of the chalk.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
how that,
I haven't seen that budget in the past.
yeah, how that works out.
I mean, yeah, it's a community event. It's like all of that is fine. And I'd like to try to find a way to do it where it doesn't cost us.
Or I could see if someone else wants to. Nonprofit community group, the Art Academy.
Yeah.
We just kind of have the space.
Street's not closed for the chalk festival, is it?
No.
Okay.
Not for what we were thinking of, no. It'd just be a simple mark some spaces out, but that's, we could just walk around and do it.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
only other thing that I would say is it would be good to just say that it's a family friendly, kid oriented event. But whatever the content of your chalk drawing is, needs to be clean.
Yeah,
Well, usually we have a theme.
I just remember the last time we did it, there were some things that were
Not bad.
There was.
just like maybe one or two like kind of scary or creepy things or.
Comic-Con kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a, you know, not a set in stone kind of thing.
Okay.
When do we actually review these dates? Right now?
Right now.
Well, I mean, in the past, they've been, like, as they come up, and then, kind of, I don't know when's the last time that the whole calendar was
They're wondering now.
set.
Well, I don't know if this is the proper time, I can wait until closing comments, but I think the wine walk and the beer walk, the beer and the wine needs to be separate, like not one. I've been following a lot of different cities. I think we should go to another city's wine walk and another city's beer walk as a team and see the differences, but I think that separating them and creating like a harvest, a lot of people are doing these Oktoberfest and these harvest festivals in their downtown area, and Monrovia does it, Duarte does it, Pasadena, there's different cities that do it very well, Dana Point. And it creates another event, another source of revenue for us as well. The beer walk and the wine walk, there isn't enough emphasis on the beer at the wine and beer walk, in my opinion. I mean, it's not as much of a beer walk as it is a wine walk. And I think if we were to create that separate entity for the year and create a harvest theme event, that could also encompass the chalk walk, a harvest chalk walk. It could be like something that kind of encompasses that too, and it's a family event. You know, we can close the streets. It can be similar to what Claremont does in October, which is their downtown, it's every year. I was
Village
down.
Venture.
Huh?
Village Venture.
Village Venture, yep. And so the wine walk, I would personally suggest leveling it up a little bit, creating like a wine and art experience, and also incorporating tasting stops, incorporating the restaurants. I don't know why we don't incorporate the restaurants. I don't know when that happened, that we said you can't because you serve liquor. But if they were to come out of their buildings, similar to what you did, which you did wonderfully, I have to say, for the car show, having them come out of their buildings, setting up a tent and serving small bites, it helps for the budgets for the small businesses who also have to provide small bites on top of the $200 fee to serve the wine, on top of the additional whatever they're doing for the night. So I think if we were to create a really spectacular wine walk, it would be like a wine and tasting of Glendora, kind of like what you guys do, but not at that level. But it also gets our restaurants involved at a higher level, because I know that it could be possibly frustrating for them too, that they're not able to participate in this event. And it creates a little bit more of a foodie experience versus just getting drunk and hammered and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different taste for the purchaser.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about moving the date from March to potentially, I thought we said in the last meeting, May, or was that something we talked about? I thought we-
It was mentioned.
Yeah.
May, it's just, I know May's tough around here because of all the school stuff. Also, I mean, we did have a beer walk in the village before, the Rotary Club put it on.
I was gonna say, we still
But
do,
then-
the community services department puts on a beer walk.
Well, no, but we had a beer fest, we had Glendora Beer Fest, but when the wine walk started adding beer, it killed that event. So
Was it a different time of the year?
it was in October. We've already had that in the village.
So you think the wine walk adding beer in March affects a beer fest in
It did.
October? Wow, okay.
But he had a beer then, that's why they stopped doing it. But then the question is, do you want to add more events? That's a bid. Or maybe see if a nonprofit wants to do it, you just get the clients. Yeah.
I think we would probably replace the October Halloween walk with something more adult oriented, like a beer. That's for next year. Something like that.
Well, again, the community service department sponsors a beer walk in September, right before October. So,
So can we talk to them then about potentially expanding that?
Are you talking about the one we had last month where they literally walked up the street?
yeah,
I think this is completely different.
well, but it's still in the
Yeah.
village and it's still a beer walk. So,
Yeah, but the difference between that and ours would be we would charge people. We have a beer garden. It wouldn't be necessarily like a beer walk. It would be like a harvest festival with a beer garden and vendors and small businesses involvement. And it's like more of a harvest themed event. It wouldn't be a ticketed event. It would generate foot traffic. It would generate,
And they just pay to get into the beer garden.
yeah.
You'd be in the empty lot.
That's with pumpkins at that time though. isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just setting it up now. There could
Just a
be
suggestion.
moment.
We have
Or
time.
maybe the event committee.
Could we add this in as an agenda item for the next meeting?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing, if I could ask, probably the most important one at this point is Santa in the Village.
Let's
That's
get back to Santa.
December.
Let's get back to the guy in the red suit.
You know, past years, you've had Santa in the Village, had carriage rides. You want all that again?
I personally don't. Does Santa come for the holiday stroll?
Yeah, yeah, the city gets, you know, Santa at the stroll and everything, with the tree lighting and everything. But I mean, if you want us to plan Santa in the Village, it just set all that up.
I personally vote no. I mean, I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't generate additional foot traffic for my business or anyone else. It's more of a nostalgic thing, I think. But if we're having Santa and we're making it big for holiday stroll, I don't think it's necessary to have carriages going up and down the street with nobody in them. Last year, there was like 2 people riding in them. I mean, it wasn't even like a big deal.
I agree. I don't think it's a worthwhile expense for us. I think we could pool our funds into other things.
It does help businesses that stay open later. I mean, we do have Santa in the Village. I think it starts at 5. No. The 5 to 7 usually.
Mhm.
So the businesses that stay open later for holiday shopping
I stay up until 8.
benefit.
I didn't see the holiday hours and stuff.
I think there's gonna be a lot of little things like this that feel like they're, you know, maybe not used, maybe not worth spending money on, that, that as we talk about budget and talk about what we're doing, maybe don't make sense from a logistical standpoint. But there is some value to having some of these things from a community standpoint and a nostalgic standpoint that don't have any impact on the local businesses. I think my question would be, like, should that come out of our budget? Or should that be, is that somebody else's responsibility to foster, you know, nostalgia for the city?
No, well, that one was, it came out of the bid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like something that, you know, but if it doesn't help the local businesses, then should that be the city's responsibility? Or someone else's, one of your nonprofits could do Santa in the Village.
Yeah. So kind of to get some direction, you want to scratch Santa in the Village then, and then the rest will come back to the vet committee. We can talk more about specifics and then bring it back.
All right, I'll make a motion to scratch Santa in the Village. Back to the others.
I will abstain.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to the final item, village pressure washing update.
The moment we've all been waiting for.
I know.
Well, that one, you know, as I was graciously offered by Mr. Arturo to kind of do a walk around the village, which, I mean, I've walked the village 100 times, but it's interesting when you walk and like really look around. But we all know, like, the pressure water, the berries come out of the trees, gets messy, they stain people's carpet, all this kind of stuff. So I've been talking with Public Works, Alicia, Valerie, to kind of get a, you know, who's on first, who's on second, kind of a thing, of what we can do. So it's in the work. I don't know, do you have anything on that?
No, so, and I'm sure, I don't want to step on Joe's toes, I don't know if he was gonna mention this, but right now the pressure washing that does take place in the village, while it might not be as frequent as the board and maybe the businesses downtown would like, the city does absorb all of those costs. Currently, the bid does not pay into any pressure washing at all. Public Works is currently looking at what the cost would be to do it more frequently. Right now, it's being done quarterly by Athens. And again, most of the landscaping and maintenance services that the bid receives is under city contract. So the bid piggybacks off of the city's contract. And for the most part, the city does, the bid receives the rate of the city, or the city is absorbing the cost of pressure washing and other miscellaneous things. So that's something to keep in mind. But we are working on getting a quote for what more pressure washing would look like. And I think Joe will probably speak to this. It's just really depending on the appetite of what the bid wants to see down there, considering that it's done 4 times a year right now, and you guys are seeing what it looks like. So it's really up to your guys' taste as to what you want to see down there, considering that it is going to cost more.
So it's been done in the last 3 months.
No, it's around the trash cans, it's pretty much. I don't think they do the whole sidewalk.
Sidewalk on the west side of the street seemed like it was done recently.
I think some people do it themselves. I know, like on Nita, that corner, Frank's area, he does it himself. Or he has a service that does that.
There may also be
Restaurants
certain
do it.
times of year that it needs to be done more frequently than others.
Guys, is there an opportunity to speak at some point on this?
Sure, right?
Truthfully, if they are actually doing it quarterly, which honestly, I don't believe they are actually doing it quarterly, it wouldn't look the way it does right now. We typically do our professional services around our building quarterly, and we bought our own pressure washer to keep up on it even in between. Quarterly should be enough if they're doing it, but it would be good to do it at certain time frames. Like before the Halloween walk, and the Christmas stroll that's coming up. It would be nice to get it done before that. So if you guys could have some input on what month to do it prior to your events and prior to the events that are occurring, so that it's just as nice as it can be during those events, that would be my input. But I believe quarterly should be enough, but it would be nice for the bid to know when it's scheduled and to have some accountability. We've got contractors that come out to our jobs and it's like, hey, we did the job. And it's like, yeah, I'm not seeing it. So if they just did it recently, folks, I'm not seeing it. So if you could get some schedules and dates and try to coordinate that, I think that would be helpful.
I think Athens just does it around the trash bin.
Yeah, it needs to be,
Not the actual.
it needs to
site.
be the whole thing. And maybe we need to get a bid for 6 times a year. So it's quarterly and 2 extra times during the season where all the berries fall.
I mean, I had a question with something like that, if it's over and above what the city does, would you all, is there put money in the game? Or, like.
Yeah.
Take our Santa money.
To that.
Yeah.
Take our Santa money. We'll
Yeah.
give it to
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
I mean, if it comes up, if it's
Yeah.
over and above. what-
But I think to Frank's point, we were talking about earlier, I'd be surprised that it was fully done in the last 3 months, based on what the streets look like. So we need to find out, when did they say it was gonna be done? What are they actually doing? And what should they be doing? And go from there.
If I recall, when the Athens, in a lot of those, their contract is just around the trash containers and stuff.
We can confirm that,
Yeah,
and I
but we
did
can-
provide Joe the dates per the contract. It's just a written contract that they're scheduled to come out and service the village. To Joe's point, what that looks like, I'm not too sure. I can go back and confirm. Through Public Works, I'll have to reach out to Athens where exactly they're power washing at the moment, and then we can work on possibly confirming, the exact date that they're coming out there. Now that it's becoming a larger concern. I mean, again, if you guys want to go ahead and do it more frequently, that's something for you guys to discuss, and Joe,
Okay.
I can work with us.
Somebody how do we do the quote process?
I think maybe we'll just bring additional information back to.
Okay.
No, at this point. Or just up to you all what's been going on.
All right, let's go ahead and I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We'll move on to closing comments.
I wanted to add something. If it's possible to add for next meeting's agenda, a social media budget for boosted ads and posts for the holiday months. If we're moving funds from different sources of events that we're hosting and we're now saying we're not going to do those things, I would like to add to the meeting looking at that budget for social media and how we can engage more people. The numbers and stats that Louise presented today are kind of alarming to me. And if we were to be able to move some funds to that, do some spotlights on businesses, maybe a boosted reel, an influencer comes down and does a foodie blog post. I mean, there's different things we can do. We represent the businesses in downtown, and that also includes helping them exponentially with their business. If their concerns are inflation and their concerns are those types of economical factors, maybe we can do something online to help move that needle a little bit more for them and get the recognition they deserve. So if we can talk about what that could be for us, I'd like to discuss that the next meeting. Yeah.
Kind of what, a plan for it too
Yeah,
and
for
everything.
the holidays, to really get some extra emphasis. If we talk about it next November, we have a whole month to plan and then really launch it full force in December for our businesses.
I did want to mention too, Joe mentioned that the bid typically discusses the next fiscal year budget in January, February. That is on a July to June fiscal year. So the bids budget would essentially be adopted with the city's budget, which starts in March. So these conversations, the earlier they happen, we're in, beginning of October, but the holidays are coming and time's gonna fly. So the earlier the board has these discussions, the better, especially since you're looking at removing events, adding services, beefing up some of your current line items. It's really helpful to look at what your overall goal is and to get that to Joe so you can figure out what that looks like for the next fiscal year, because that does come pretty quickly and does have to go to council. So just something to keep in mind.
All right. With that, I will adjourn the meeting. 9:43 a.m. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for helping us with the